Hi, my name is Milan Michalik, and I have been professionally involved in grading for about 10 years, especially in TV commercials. I will be guiding you through this video tutorial, showing you the basics of DaVinci Resolve application. At the time of making of the tutorial, the DaVinci Resolve 11 was available. Other versions of this software may differ slightly from the one we will be working with, but I believe that the main points or the basics of operation remain the same across new and even older versions of this system. In this tutorial, I will cover the basics of work with the DaVinci Resolve application, as well as the basics of grading in general. Also, the application comes with a thorough user's manual in a PDF format, which you can use in combination with this tutorial or as an additional tool that may help clarify the more complex areas that I have to leave out or simplify due to time constraints. The manual also lists changes and functions that were added or updated compared to the newer as well as older versions of the application. Before getting to the application itself, I'd like to talk a little about the reasons behind working with color corrections or grading. There are two categories of reasons, and the first one of them is technical reasons. A color correction result is to be not only visually appealing as such, but it also must be an image, such as a video file or a sequence of shots, with specific and necessary parameters. The parameters may be determined either by you or the project sponsor. The result of your work, that is, the exported data, will differ depending on whether it is intended for, say, YouTube or a movie theater. In the past, all electronic cameras captured images in a linear mode, in the Rec. 601 norm, and later with HD video in the Rec. 709 norm. Manufacturers gradually sought ways to improve the image quality of their cameras, and consequently, several new formats and image capturing modes have been developed. Currently, the so-called RAW video is one of the most popular ones. To simplify things, we can imagine it as data coming directly from the camera sensor, without any adjustments, which the camera normally performs when capturing video, for example, exposure, white balance, or the bit depth. Some such cameras include products by companies such as Blackmagic Design, Red, Arri, Sony, and many others. This raw material is directly unusable or cannot be read by conventional players, primarily due to its size, but also because its decoding is highly demanding on hardware. Another popular format, especially with DSLRs, is logarithmic data storage. This form of recording started to be used because most picture cameras were not able to store data with higher than 8-bit color depth. Also, the codecs used in such photo devices, as for example Motion JPEG or H.264, are limited to 8 bits. And 8 bits are often not enough, especially when we intend to make more significant adjustments to the image. Filmmakers therefore started to use logarithmic color space recordings in order to enhance the information density. Individual pixels thus have higher and therefore more precise values. If someone shows you a shot like this one, you probably immediately recognize that it has been stored in logarithmic space. A brighter image does get written into the file, but to correct the values, we can adjust it later, either by changing the gamma curve or with the LUT table. Put simply, a video that you import into grading often has a different format than the one you export after grading. The second technical reason is alignment of individual shots or scenes. You don't always manage to shoot so that the entire film is evenly exposed. Some shots are darker than others, some are more saturated, and at one point or another, you might have even made the mistake of wrongly setting the white balance. But you surely want your final video to be even, so that it doesn't discomfort the viewer by alternating lighter and darker shots filmed at the same location. there is no reason why the final film shots should differ. The second category are artistic reasons. Through color change, you help the viewer see an image the way you intended for it to look, according to your artistic aims. You can adjust an image to a warmer or colder effect. You can also significantly reduce the saturation and make an image sadder, or make it happier with higher saturation. Or you want to experiment and adjust the colors into complementary contrast. Another reason may be the need to highlight certain parts of an image. Say, your shot only lasts 2 seconds, but you want the viewer to notice a particular person or an object, which otherwise does not dominate the scene. If you highlight the person or object, or make a different part of the image darker, the resulting effect is that your viewer notices the desired part sooner than the rest of the image. It is based on the natural human reaction to notice lighter spots faster than the darker ones. Clearly, many applications offer color correction, and you don't even need to use special grading software. If you edit your video using Adobe Premiere, Apple Final Cut Pro, Sony Vegas, Avid Media Composer, Grass Valley Edius, or another editing software, you've probably already used some of the image adjustment tools. It's quite alright and no harm is done, but if you feel you want to do something more with the image, or that your editing software limits you in some ways, let's say you are unable to process raw format, or to create several masks in a single image, or perhaps you are unfamiliar with replaying your corrections in real time, you should definitely try an application specially intended for color correction, that is, grading. Such an application will surely offer you wider options and more comfort when working with color corrections. That's simply because it's the job it does. To conclude, in this lesson we covered the basic reasons for doing color corrections and also noted a few reasons why it is preferable to use a special grading program such as DaVinci Resolve.